Now, I'm no doctor, but I would say that the most difficult medical condition to treat is being dead. And yet it takes more than a nasty case of having died to keep these game heroes down. They're much, much too important to stay dead, and thankfully can apparently be jump-started like a car with a flat battery. Join us now as we fondly remember the times that you died, but then got better because you had too much to do. Please beware spoilers ahead for the following games. Wolfenstein 2, for sure, big spoiler, avoid that one. Oh, and Star Wars The Force Unleashed, remember that one. Nightbreed, the interactive movie, I thought only I remembered that one. Well, it's made it onto the list. Somehow so that's good. Sunset Overdrive, that was also good. Anyway, lots of spoilers, so just beware, yeah.
Well, theft and destruction of public and private property, aiding the enemy, torture, terrorism, including nuclear, both domestic and abroad, and high treason. For gruesome murders that number in the thousands, you have been found guilty, Mr. William Joseph Blazkowicz.
If there's one thing we've learnt over the course of the Wolfenstein games, it's that hero BJ Blazkowicz is extremely difficult to kill. Except for the times when we're actually in control of him. They don't count. Just look at the end of Wolfenstein: The New Order. BJ finishes the first game by setting off a nuke while lying right in the middle of the blast zone.
Can you hear me, Captain? Am I clear to fire?
You're clear.
And yet somehow the Beej survives, with his eyebrows intact, to appear in the sequel, Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. The bad news is your enemy Frau Engel is similarly resistant to mortality, having somehow survived having her jaw ripped apart and being thrown off a cliff by a robot.
Then I will feed your flesh to the furnace!
If I stub my toe, I'm out of action for a week. So when BJ is captured and sentenced to execution during Wolfenstein: The New Colossus, it's anyone's guess who's going to come out of this with their head still attached. Initially, it looks like BJ is going to make a daring escape, but it turns out this is all an idle daydream.
We will be together soon. You just have one more hardship to
Bailiff!
Never mind all the times I died in the daydream. Definitely doesn't count. So when BJ is led to the chopping block and has his head hacked off with a sword, we're pretty sure we're deader than an Aliens Colonial Marines fan forum. And that's before the head is dropped in a furnace on live television. Huh, I guess that's game over then. Nope, BJ's falling head is rescued by his comrades and they have to rapidly stick it in a jar before he suffers total brain death.
3 seconds! We need to give his brain oxygenated blood or it will die.
Is he alive? Answer me, is he alive?
Pretty sure that was more than 3 seconds, but sure. After a brief spell learning what it's like to be a goldfish, BJ is resurrected with a nifty cybernetic body, so he can get on with completing the second half of the game.
I feel powerful.
Your move, Frau Engel. She'll be back in Wolfenstein 3.
You are all traitors to the Empire. You will be interrogated, tortured. You will give me the names of your friends and allies. And then you will die.
It's possible you don't remember the ending to Star Wars The Force Unleashed because you were too busy owning Wookiees with the Force to ever finish the first level. More like let the Wookiee spin. You know, like what he says with the... You know what I'm talking about, Star Wars. If you did manage to finish The Force Unleashed, however, you'll remember that the player character, Starkiller, who is Darth Vader's secret apprentice, dies at the end, in the canonical ending, from a nasty case of Force lightning. This is sad because Starkiller had amazing cheekbones, but also good because in death he became a martyr for the newly formed Rebel Alliance, inspiring them in their battle against the evil Empire. Also, he had found love with Imperial pilot Juno Eclipse, and it was all very touching and sweet. Or as touching and sweet as someone being electrocuted to death by a monster-faced space wizard can be, I guess. That is until Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2, which picks up 6 months after the events of the first game and casts you again as Starkiller, who, it seems, has walked it off.
You're alive.
How long this time?
The official explanation for this is that you're playing as an imperfect clone of Starkiller, because Darth Vader was so thrilled with how the original one went, he decided he wanted to give it a second go. Probably a mistake, that one.
She loved a dead man. She would have never loved you. You will die where you stand!
At least in the ending of The Force Unleashed 2, this Starkiller doesn't die. Instead, he gets to fly off with Juno, but uh-oh, looks like they're being tailed by popular character Boba Fett. What a cliffhanger to end on! What a setup for Force Unleashed 3! Cancelled, you say? LucasArts closed down entirely, you say? I guess there is one thing in the universe more powerful than the Force. Corporate downsizing.
Down here, you check that equipment. Getting more field reports. The Enclave is retreating. We have a location isn't going to help at all. We have a
mean comatose. After all this, to be left in a state like that?
The story of a hero has 3 parts, a beginning, a middle, and an end. In the beginning, you put the hero up a tree. In the middle, you throw rocks at them. At the end, you get your hero out of the tree. This structure holds true even for those few stories not about climbing trees, or stories set in the desolation of the Fallout 3 wasteland, where the trees tend to be hideous mutants.
I want you to go underground and destroy my heart.
No one is climbing that. If you get the hero out of the tree and they're still alive, it's a comedy. If the hero is dead from rocks, what you've got there is a tragedy. And so we find the original ending of Fallout 3, in which the lone wanderer wanders into a lethal dose of ionizing radiation. No folks, don't even worry about it. I'm going to heroically sacrifice myself for the good of the wasteland, even if you're immune to radioactivity.
We all have our own destinies, and yours culminates here. I would not rob you of that.
No, don't get up. Don't see what's so super about him, if I'm honest. Anywho, that's how you wound up canonically dead at the end of Fallout 3 in a tragic and noble act of self-sacrifice that left you, we have to assume, more irradiated than Godzilla's left buttock. And yet, however deadly that seemed, it was nothing that couldn't be cured by a little downloadable content. Enter Fallout 3 DLC Broken Steel, which upgraded your status from dead to in a 2-week coma.
Careful now, careful. Don't move too quickly. Everything's fine, you're safe. You're in the Citadel.
Yes, apparently you were knocked unconscious in your would-be final act of heroism, then taken to the Brotherhood of Steel's clinic in the Citadel for a nice long lie-down and no other lasting ill effects.
I was starting to think you might never wake up, despite assurances to the contrary.
This is such good and improbable news for you and the now recovering wasteland that I might suspect you actually did die, and this is all a beautiful dream you're having in your dying moments in the irradiated control chamber. Except if it was, why are you dreaming that albino rad scorpions are a thing? Ugh. Okay, this is real. Back to work, I guess.
I just lost the best friend I've ever had.
We all lost a friend.
And the world lost a hero.
You remember Sunset Overdrive? It was the Xbox exclusive from Insomniac Games, in which you played an insufferable, wisecracking kid who parkours around a city, a concept that is only acceptable when that insufferable, wisecracking kid is Spider-Man, as we all discovered in Insomniac's next game.
Hey, Willie.
You.
Nice jumpsuit. Slimming.
PlayStation exclusive, that one. I know who got the better end of that deal. The plot of Sunset Overdrive centered on evil energy drink company Fizzco, whose drink Overcharge perks you up and helps you focus, with the slight downside of turning you into a boil-covered mutant known as an OD.
Stay back, man.
But helps you focus, you say. I do have a bunch of work needs finishing. By the time you've reached the end of the game, your war against Fizco has escalated to the point where your snarky dubstep enjoyer of a player character is riding a huge bottle of overcharge into their corporate headquarters for reasons which we swear make sense in the context of the story. In the process though, in a course of events that absolutely no one could possibly have predicted, your hero smashes into the building, falls hundreds of feet to the ground below, and then the building explodes, crushing them with loads of rubble so that they die. To death. What follows is a beautiful tribute to your heroic deeds throughout the game, as various NPCs you've helped on your journey gather to mourn their fallen friend, and also a LARPer puts a crown on your foot. Then the credits roll and we all take a moment to think about how fleeting and precious life is, in a surprisingly profound message for a game that up until this point had— oh wait, there he is.
That's the ending? Are you serious? Whose idea was that? Yours? Or yours? Oh, bad move, guys. NeoGaf is gonna eat you alive. You know what? I deserve a better ending. I got an idea. Okay, rewind!
Yeah, your wisecracking character has decided that actually this ending is too depressing. So they rewind time with a heretofore unmentioned power that really would have come in handy during the actual game itself. Then they come back to life, which, to be fair, we had been doing for a while in a variety of wacky ways.
Hey everybody! Who wants to get drunk on milk and crackers?
I don't know, there's just something about this guy I don't like.
Is it that he's not Spider-Man?
Yeah, I think that might be it.
If you thought interactive movies only arrived with the advent of full motion video, then you have clearly underestimated what people in the 1990s were willing to describe as an interactive movie. Case in point is the brilliantly weird Nightbreed the Interactive Movie on the Amiga. You play as the movie's hero, Aaron Boone, who has been having weird dreams about an underground city of monsters called Midian. Unfortunately, at the start of the game, Aaron's psychotherapist informs him that he suspects him of murder and is going to turn him in to the police. And Aaron reacts in exactly the same way I do when I watch a documentary about the Fire Festival. It wasn't even a private island. You end up on the run from the police and heading towards the graveyard where Midian is located. It's not exactly the warmest welcome though, in that you're bitten by a gross monster. You know, I really imagined that when I got bit on the neck by a monster, it'd be some sort of sexy vampire. When you finally escape the monster after a button-mashing chase, you're confronted by the police and shot, I estimate, about 40 times. Yeah, I think I'm dead, guys. Calm down. Fortunately, that bite on the neck means you're now Nightbreed, and death isn't the impediment it used to be. You wake up on the mortuary slab and make a daring escape through the window. Back to your busy schedule of knife dodging, fish avoidance, and whatever the hell is going on here. Yeah, that's the other face I pull watching a Fire Festival documentary. The cabanas were disaster relief tents!
貴様があの時母を殺した。貴様をここで終わらせる。
Family squabbles are one thing, but when your family tradition is throwing each other into volcanoes, maybe it's time to seek professional help. That's the situation in the Mishima family of Tekken fame. The family's most notable members, Heihachi, his son Kazuya, and his grandson Jin, can't go a single game without some attempted murder that's sure to make things awkward around the Christmas dinner table. Starting with Kazuya's ending in the original Tekken, in which he chucks Heihachi off a cliff and then turns and grins at the camera like he's in a soda commercial, the Mishimas have variously thrown family members into volcanoes, thrown them out of airplanes, tied them to rockets, thrown them into other volcanoes, kicked them into space, punched them into dust, I could go on. Okay, one more. Blown up by golf balls. Okay, there's loads more of this, each of which looks definitively lethal, but none of which stops the Mishimas rocking back up in the next Tekken game, none the worse for wear. Some of these events, mostly the space-based ones and possibly the one where Heihachi becomes a bear, are hand-waved away as being non-canon. But the volcano ones definitely are canon and form a key part of Tekken lore, which is why I'm so surprised to see Kazuya and Heihachi show up as playable characters in Tekken games these days because, let me remind you, they've both been chucked into active volcanoes. And yet you'll notice that in the most recent Tekken, Tekken 7, we're back to, you guessed it, Heihachi and Kazuya having a fight in a volcano. You'd think they'd have learned their lesson by now. Nice job, Kazuya. Heihachi, I'll see you in Tekken 8.
Shepard did everything right. More than we could have hoped for.
Commander Shepard uncovered the truth.
And still, it's not enough.
Miraculous technology is literally everywhere in the galaxy of Mass Effect. In this far-flung future, they've got faster-than-light travel, telekinetic powers, and skin-tight spacesuits that keep space out without compromising on sex appeal.
Joker's still in the cockpit. He won't evacuate. I'm not leaving either.
Imagine if the Apollo program had had those.
Jane?
I'm imagining if the Apollo program had had those. The pinnacle of all this super high technology, though, is the Lazarus Project. At the start of Mass Effect 2, a surprise attack on the Normandy results in all hands abandoning ship and Commander Shepard choking on a bunch of hard vacuum. Maybe the designers should have built those spacesuits a little bulkier after all. No, they were right. While the Normandy is rendered into little more than a cloud of space debris, Shepard is rendered into little more than what you get when a sausage falls through the barbecue grill into the fire. That's Shepard deader than disco, you might have thought. Wow, Mass Effect 2 turned out to be a really short game, you might have thought. Except you hadn't reckoned with the power of the aforementioned Lazarus Project. Lazarus is a mind-blowingly expensive, unprecedented system for reanimating a bunch of fleshy human chunks with cybernetic reconstruction, like a less shiny Robocop.
Wake up, Commander. Shepard, do you hear me? Get out of that bed now. This facility is under attack.
The Lazarus Project is brought to you by Cerberus, the pro-human paramilitary faction you might remember from such projects as being the bad guys in Mass Effect 1. They've named their resurrection technology Lazarus after a guy in the Bible Jesus brought back to life after 4 days, which is a bit rich because it takes them 2 years to get Shepard back in business, and still with a load of scars.
I never got a chance to say how much I appreciated what the Lazarus Project did for me.
I just hope it was worth it.
Still, we mustn't grumble, because otherwise Mass Effect 2 would have ended 10 minutes in, the Reapers would have hoovered up all the sentient life in the galaxy, and I'd never have had that date with Garrus on the Citadel.
All right, Vicarian. You're going down.
And don't worry, I loaded it with practice logs for when you miss. That was an easy one. Let you build up your confidence.
Duh! Wow, I was dead there for a while, but now I got better. Man, I hope no one stole all my stuff while I was dead. Hey, speaking of that segue that I just did, there's a video up here about that exact thing, when video games stole all your stuff. You should click on that, but if you don't want to see that, if you want to instead see me and Luke playing Ace Combat 7 with VR, you can check that out down here. It's very confusing, but neither of us throw up, that's a guarantee.
Should people like and subscribe also?
Nah.
No, tell them to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe also!
Yeah.
Do that.
Thank you.